So just sitting tight right now. I haven't looked into that too much, Sam. So sometimes you have a stock that makes a really big move like that. You don't, it just sort of fades because it was just so big that traders got caught off guard, but it went up higher than it probably would have if people hadn't gotten caught off guard, maybe shorts, whatever. Um, so now it's
Sometimes
just
you have a
kind of
stock that
coming
makes a
back
really
down
big.
and shorts are now in control. You've got a sort of significant high candle there, but that may not be the case. It might give us more, so we'll see. Move like that. You don't. Now it's
Sometimes
just
you have
kind
a
of
stock that
coming
makes a
back
really
down,
big.
and shorts are now in control. You've got a sort of
Yo, back of the Yukon. Back of the Yukon. All right, guys. So 15 shares, already up $20. Took a trade from 7 until about $9. Took profit on 10 shares. Currently balance is 134. Got about 15 position size. I gotta take profit here at $12. Right, let's see what happens. 15 shares, already up $20. Took a trade from 7.
yeah. I mean, it's possible you get another move on this. It's not out of play. It's still holding up above the volume weighted average price, but I'm just going to hold tight for right now. I don't see a setup on it right now. It is a 5-minute bull flag. I suppose you could say that, but yeah, I mean, it's possible you get another 1 minute move on this. I'm gonna. It's not out of play. This trade right here. It's still holding up above the volume weight average price, but I'm just gonna hold tight for right now. I don't see a setup on it right now. It is a 5-minute bull flag. I suppose you could say that, but yeah, I mean, it's possible you get another 1 minute move on this. I'm gonna. It's not out of play. It's still holding up above the volume weight average price, but I'm just gonna hold tight for right now. I don't see a setup on it right now. It is a 5-minute bull flag. I suppose you could say that, but yeah, I mean, it's possible you get another 1 minute move on this. I'm gonna. It's not out of play. It's still holding up above the volume weight average price, but I'm just gonna hold tight for right now. I don't see a setup on it right now. It is a 5-minute bull flag. Nice fill. Yeah, I mean, it's possible you get another 1 minute move on this. I'm gonna. It's not out of play. It's still holding up above the volume weight average price, but I'm just gonna hold tight for right now. I don't see a setup on it right now. Nice fill.
What's up, big dog?
Well, hopefully this added a little profit for the end of the month for a lot of you guys. 350% move is
What's
pretty
up, big
impressive.
dog?
Hopefully this added a little profit for the end of the month for a lot of you guys. 350% move is
What's
pretty
up, big dog?
nice.
All right. Let's see what is going on. It's still maintaining this trend line here. Let's see what it can do here. Open up at 9 o'clock. See if we got more buyers coming in.
And honestly, I feel like I missed it a little bit because look at my small account. Got nothing. On my last small account trade 2 days ago or whatever it was, I lost 7,000 bucks. Lost 20% of the account in one day. And then yesterday I didn't take any trades because I was feeling a little nervous. And then today I felt like this was up too high. I just didn't want to make another big mistake. And so now, we ended up having a stock go up 300%. And I missed the whole thing. So I have this is always the challenge with trading in more than one account. You can have mixed feelings. You could feel good in one account and then feel bad in the other at the same exact time, which is a little bit of an unusual thing. But that's how I feel with the small account, that I missed it. And looking back on the chart, my first entry was at 579. I chased it. I jumped in for the break of 6, and we got this squeeze up to 8, drop down, came back up sideways. Then I added back right here for the break of 8. We got a squeeze up to 950. So we got a couple really nice candles, but then that big sort of rejection here off of 10. So as I look at this, I've seen cleaner 10-second charts. I've seen cleaner 10-second charts. This one's a little tricky. And so if you got, on the wrong side and you gave back some profit, I also gave back a little off the top. I could see easily how that could have happened. If you missed it because you weren't really sure, and then all of a sudden a big green candle right after you get out, I could see how that would have happened too. So, I'm glad that we had something moving. It's better than having nothing, but I also can see how easy it would have been to be red on it or to not trade it at all. And both of those things are okay because this will not be the last stock that goes up 300% this year. It may be the last one this month, but it won't be the last one this year. There will be other opportunities. And when those opportunities come along, maybe some of those will be cleaner and you'll be able to do a little bit better on them. I hope I will too. So I wouldn't get too bent out of shape over missing one because there's always another one around the corner. We're in a pretty hot market right now. I mean, it's a little like some days are cold and then it's hot, but we're seeing quite a lot of opportunities. What I wouldn't do is change the time that you trade today or change your share size because of your feelings of frustration. Don't trade longer in the day because, oh, well, there was a move yesterday after the open. It was a penny stock, or, well, maybe this will curl. If you don't normally trade longer in the day, then don't trade longer in the day today. It's not worth it. Don't increase your share size to compensate for this. It doesn't matter. If you had, really, no matter where you sit on the month, whether it's red or green, the window is pretty much closed here. It's the last day, it's Friday, it's the end of the week. So let's come back and do it again tomorrow, on Monday. Let's start over on Monday. Let's start fresh. And let's try to have a better month next month. I made a few mistakes this month. I had a few trades where I got myself frustrated, I got stubborn, and the loss got bigger and bigger. I had a $32,000 loss on Tuesday. I had another $36,000 loss. Well, I guess that was the end of June, but that was still, pretty frustrating. So I had a $15,000 loss. I think it was on Monday, and then flipped from red to green on the day with that, kind of high risk trade. So I see some opportunity to smooth out my trading a little bit as well. I hope that we keep seeing decent moves, but it's been, it's been a little tricky. So I would just try to, think of this as, all right, if you kept your head above water, if you're still in the game at the end of July, good. If you didn't lose too much, but you gained experience, that's good. If you made a little, that's even better. If you made a lot, good for you. Put some of it away and save it for a rainy day, because not every month will be as good as, your best month. You can only have a best month, once. Everything else is a little bit lower than that, until the market picks back up and you have another best month. But pace yourself. And for those of you guys that really got smoked in July for whatever reason, maybe you're new, gave into FOMO, not following the rules, and you might know that. You might know I'm not doing as good of a job as I should. A couple things you could do. One would be over the weekend, watch the Trader Rehab course. Check into Trader Rehab. I know it's not fun, but it's what you got to do. If you've had a series of big red days and you've gotten yourself into a spiral, watch the Trader Rehab class. That is an honest breakdown of how I recover after getting smoked. So I would really recommend that. And then you can start August on sort of a clean slate with a new mindset, a new set of goals. So through Trader Rehab, I give you a trading plan. I walk you through the way I approach recovering from a big loss. Ted does that class with me, so there's a whole trader psychology component. So I would do that. If you were red in a big way during July or this summer so far, watch the Trader Rehab course. You may realize that you're in a little over your head. You maybe shouldn't be trading with real money, and you've gotten yourself so in the weeds that it's hard to step back. Watch the Trader Rehab course, step back over the weekend, and reevaluate. We should all do that. We should all look at our metrics and evaluate what do we do well in July, what needs improvement. I think the thing that we'll see, for me is the time of day. Let's see this month. So I don't think we can say like, oh, don't trade on Tuesdays. I think that's just bad luck. But you look at the performance by time, and that was avoidable. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake. So this was the Jersey Mike IPO yesterday. Small win, doesn't really matter, but that's an IPO. I did upload that archive for you guys, but in any case, price and volume, lost a little bit on stocks over $20 a share. This one, performance by interest. the stock has more volume, doing better on relative volume, of course being higher, that's always the case. But accuracy declined, only about 60% accuracy. Profit loss ratio is 2 to 1, that's good, but the accuracy came down a bit. So, you know, there's some room for improvement. So spend some time looking at your metrics, seeing what you could do to get a little bit better. And you know, if you want to reset and trade in the sim in August is typically a slower month, so you're not going to miss much by trading in the sim realistically. And even if you did miss something, the market's not going anywhere, so it really doesn't matter if it's helping you slow things down and stabilize. But if you trade in the sim here, then you know, we aggregate all your data for you so you can see your metrics, you can monitor your progress. If you're trading real money, you could scale back to just taking one trade a day, slowing down a little bit, pumping the brakes, you know, get in, get green, get out, don't overstay your welcome. You know, and that would also be a good approach. So I think you'll notice this month, pretty much every day I was trading the #1 leading gainer in the market. Today it's FCUV. Yesterday it was NUWE, which was the leading gainer until that penny stock came up. So focusing on making sure I'm trading the right stock has been important. I have gotten in a little bit of a pickle if I've gotten in the right stock way too high because I chased it. That's caused some losses. It was the right stock, but I chased it. And I have had some mistakes where I took a trade on something that really was not the right stock. I got a little FOMO, I jumped in, and then was like, uh-oh, that was a mistake. So, you know, I still have some room for improvement there, but trading the leading gainers has been sort of really, you know, really important. It's like, you know, these are the most obvious stocks in the entire market. These are the stocks any active trader would be looking at. I mean, it's just, you're up 335%. I mean, let's be honest. It's very obvious. Webull, Robinhood, they're emailing out top gainer scanners. You know, these are the biggest movers today. They want people trading. So 905 right now, FCUV just sort of pulling back. Since we are coming to the end of the month, let's see. So last day of the month here today, those of you guys who have been having a good month, those of you guys who have been enjoying your experience here, and really anyone who's interested, I would love for you guys to take 2 minutes to just write, even if it's just one sentence about the experience you've been having here, and put it in a testimonial on Trustpilot. And you can also put the same thing on the Better Business Bureau. We are accredited at the Better Business Bureau. And so your testimonials there are really, really helpful. So let me just leave you the code for Trustpilot. So Trustpilot is a website for collecting reviews and testimonials, essentially. So this is where we've got 2,600 here, but this is where people leave a testimonial of, you know, hey, I'm having a good experience, and this is what I like about Warrior Trading. So let's see. And then the Better Business Bureau is also helpful. And you can use the same testimonial and just copy and paste it in both spots. The Better Business Bureau, and I'll just give you this link here, is only available for US residents, which is very interesting. They don't allow international, not even Canadians. I mean, it's crazy. I've heard it's because they don't like people that wear denim. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I've heard it. So Canadians, you're out. You cannot leave a testimonial on Better Business Bureau. Your opinion is not considered, you know, worthy. And that's also for the entire rest of the world. Only US residents. But this is also helpful. So you can leave the same testimonial, just copy and paste it in both places. So, anyways, I just thought I'd put that out there every now and then at the end of the month or at the end of a class. I'll just put out that request that if you want to leave a testimonial, they make a big difference for us. So thank you guys for doing that. We're sitting here at about coming up to 10 past 9. So watching to see if we get any more opportunities going into the open. I'll put that up there for now. You know, it's funny. I noticed a lot of people talking about these prop firms, like Apex and Lucid. I think those are like a futures thing. You know, it's interesting. I've noticed. You know, there's some people that have this perception. Um, you know, that trading small caps is like super risky. You should not trade small caps. It's super risky. You should trade forex instead. You should trade futures instead. But then a lot of people trading forex and futures use leverage, a lot of leverage. And so I'm like, you know, that's kind of an interesting perception. Oh, I'm going to trade gold because, you know, it's more stable, but I'm going to use like a ton of leverage to trade it. I don't know. You know, at the end of the day, the strategy that I trade is the one that I learned. It's the one that's worked the best for me. Is it the best strategy in the world? I don't think so. I'm sure there's others that are more profitable. Is it the easiest to learn? I don't know. But it's what has always made the most sense to me. And when I try to understand why people, you know, would trade Forex or futures, it's really hard for me to wrap my mind around it. I see people with these really complex charts, you know, for looking at the E-minis or whatever, and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like you're trying to see a pattern where there really isn't one. I'm just not sure. You know, again, I don't have a lot of experience with it, so it's just what I see from the outside. But it just to me seems like, you know, like my whole, and I've been working on, you know, just sort of writing this stuff down and thinking about my strategy. And as I've retaught the classes this year, I've been thinking about it a lot. That each day I'm looking for the leading gainers. Why? Because I'm looking for volatility. Well, why don't I trade like Tesla or, you know, Apple every day? They're moving up and down. It's like, yes, they are, but they have low relative volume. They don't have big percentage moves. They're higher priced. Well, you could trade options. You could, but you're trying to make a prediction of what people are going to do and think on a stock that's, you know, just sort of trending. I feel like that's where you subject yourself to the high frequency trading algorithms and, you know, the whim of some investors who take a big position or exit a big position. And I just don't know. You know, again, I'm sure there's people that have found a way to make it work, but that always felt like more of an uphill battle than just sitting down and looking at a stock like FCUV. Now, some people will say this is just too volatile, it's too fast. And I get that. And I get that it requires a certain aptitude to trade these. You know, you've got to make decisions quickly. You've got to be able to feel comfortable taking risk. But, you know, if your goal is to try to lock up 15 or 20 cents a day per share, you know, with eventually 2,000 shares, 500 a day, you know, 100 grand a year, something like that. It just seems like there's so much opportunity in this window to get that in areas that respect traditional chart patterns, that respect your traditional indicators. But yeah, I get that not everyone wants to. I mean, some just feel that they can't keep up, and so then they kind of go to a slower market. And what I think, you know, what I actually think is trading these types of stocks. If you're not cut out for it, you will probably lose money faster than trading something like Netflix or Apple all day long. With those stocks, you probably won't lose 50% of your account in one day. But over the course of many months and years of just not having any edge in that market, you'll erode your balance. And so it's a slower path to the same destination, I suppose, which is to not find success. And those who do find success are the ones that, you know, with these types of stocks are able to be very critical in thinking, get in, get out quickly, have very solid mental, emotional awareness, know when it's time to walk away, when they're over trading, just be very ruthless about getting in, getting green, getting out. So we've got about 15 minutes to the opening bell here. I'm finishing the month in good shape in the big account. Small account, ran into a little bit of a bump in the road this week. Thank you. I appreciate you posting that. Thank you. All right, so doesn't look like I'm going to get any more trades. I think this long period of the MACD being negative on FCUV, we had ascending support here, kind of a head and shoulders pattern, and now it broke. So if we come back up, we're going to run into this issue here, this resistance point. I mean, we are in between VWAP and resistance, but the MACD is slightly negative. The volume has declined. It's the last day of the month. I already gave back 10% off the top. So, I've had what was it? I think on Tuesday I gave back, or no, Wednesday I gave back more than 50% off the top. So probably should just call it. But John will come on here at the open and walk you guys through, more of what's going on. It's been really nice having his market commentary. He's very cool, very calm, collected. He's not trading while he's giving you that commentary. He trades pre-market the way I do. So, he's able to sort of just, he's not trying to, I'm trying to juggle trading and, it's a lot going on at once, but he's definitely a nice, calm influence, I think, for you guys, which is great. So you get to see a little bit of the, the excitement of me trading some of these really big moves, and then you get to kind of mellow out and listen to John give you more commentary through the opening range. And of course, you could spend the evenings or weekends studying the classes. All right, yep, I hope you have a good weekend too. Lewis, I'll see you on Monday. I mean, realistically, even though August isn't historically a super, super strong month, I guess we could pull up my metrics again. We were looking at this earlier today. Where is it? So let's look at so consistently, I've had my two best months ever were both in June. Not really sure why, but June of the pandemic, and then June of the June of last year, and then June of this year was also really good. The PDT rule, but June of last year was really good. August, I had a good August in 2020 during the pandemic, but outside of that, that was the highest August I ever had. September had a good one, really good September in 2025. That was incredible. 2020 was also a good one. October 2025 was bad. November, December were better. So, yeah, there's some. I like to say the market is a little bit seasonal. There is some seasonality to it. I typically expect it'll be strong towards the end of the year and strong at the beginning of the year, and summers are just sort of hit or miss. But then there's the cycles. I feel like right now, the challenge we face is that we don't have super clear. there's not a catalyst that I'm like, if we have a stock with that headline tomorrow, I'm putting my entire account into it. I guess the only thing that might do that would be if like we had a SpaceX taking an acquisition. SpaceX takes like a 20% stake in a company or something like that. Something like that I would probably get pretty aggressive on. But I don't know. Maybe that just because of the Elon Musk, following. But SpaceX stock is also doing quite a bit. So I don't know. I just think that we've had other periods like last year where a crypto treasury strategy came out and it was like full throttle, right? That was the one all in. And that worked really well for months, which, because it became so predictable, was able to make a lot of money on that catalyst. It just kept coming out. And then it stopped working eventually. Okay, well, that's the way it is. And then, I thought we kind of would have a prediction market catalyst for a little bit there. We only had one at the beginning of the year. It worked really, really well, but then that was it. And then, I just don't feel like we really had a good catalyst. Like a really obvious theme. So it definitely feels a little hit or miss right now. Which makes it hard to size up in a big way. And as a result, right now I'm at like 50% of what I made last year at this time. So I'm behind my last year goal. Many of you might be as well. The last year was a great year. This year is a little softer. It's kind of out of our control. There's nothing we can really do about it. Can't change that the market's slower, but what we can do is think about how we approach it. So it seems like there must be enough traders that are interested in this second move higher. Look at that. So this is really interesting because you're right at this ascending resistance level, but you can see how it's piercing it. This would be a tricky place to be a buyer, right at the double top. So, this is an example of one that has given a little bit more action there, but because of the position of that ascending resistance line, it was hard to feel confident. You've got 8 minutes or so to the opening bell. So the shape of this candle right now, you've got a topping tail. So the way I would look at something like this, generally speaking, is I would say, well, if it can break through, if it can hold the top of this resistance line, but really what we would prefer is to see a cup and handle formation, right? If we get a nice cup and handle formation, then that's where we'd be like, all right, this is something I can kind of work with. It doesn't surprise me that it ran into resistance here because the previous time it was up there, we had a topping tail, right? A couple topping tails up here last time. So in fact, the highest close from that area was like right there. These were all topping tails. So the low of this area here is like 935. Well, it's not that I want it to fall. I feel like it needs to give us a proper pullback here in order to manage risk. What I would worry about is that if it goes too soon, it doesn't hold. But, you know, maybe I'll be wrong on that. New high was 1050, but then look at that flush back down to 990. So that's a rejection there. It goes up, but it gets pushed back down. So maybe people are selling, maybe short sellers are selling against that pop, you know, but it's clearly got that pressure right there. So this candle currently has 30 seconds left on it, and it's a red shooting star. Still has time to change. It could close as a green candle with a bottoming tail, right? All of a sudden now it's a doji. If it goes back above 25, it's going to be a green candle. It's got 10 seconds left. So it looks like it's going to close as a topping tail, maybe with a shooting star formation. Yep, so, you know, that's just showing you that resistance up there. On the other hand, if you're a short seller, I probably wouldn't be too confident, even though on the 5-minute chart, you could probably say, well, this is definitely like, you know, going to reject. Look, you've got two topping tails, this big rally from $8 up to 10, it's going to roll over. And, you know, probably, I think that's a good chance. But, you know, coming into the open, you could see a flush down and then a rip back up, and suddenly it's in a halt, and then it's gapping higher, and you're like, uh-oh, you know, this could get a little crazy here. The fact is, it's up 400% as we go into the open, and it's holding up pretty well. It's in the top of the range. You can't deny that, right? Now look at how I drew the bottom of that box right down there, and right now we're kind of very close to that level. I think that's interesting. Now, if we had like a minute to the bell, I would be considering taking a dip right there and looking for a squeeze into the open, but because we still have 5 minutes to the open, I'm just gonna see what this does here. Maybe it needs to do a whole new 5-minute setup. Well, let's just see what this does the next couple minutes here. So in terms of sort of like probability of what this does to the open, you know, we've certainly had some stocks at the open recently that squeezed up, but we've also had a couple that halt down, right? And all of a sudden the bell rings and they are pinned at the halt down level, and some of them do halt down. So suddenly if this halted down, then that really takes the wind out of the sails, and everyone's like, oh shoot, you know, resumes, and maybe it curls back up later, but you know, that's a whole different kind of setup. It's a little bit later on. So we're kind of still in this boxed range right now, with that low of 935 and the high of like, you know, 1050 technically, but 1025-ish. So flushing back below 10. Well, so 25 cents per share. I think if you're focused on just being patient, waiting for that setup, it is still obtainable. So the thing on the daily chart on this one is that you don't really have any significant areas of resistance, which, I think is another element. I want to see if at the open it flushes and then gives us that possible like halt down to then catch a curl back up. I would say that if you have a cushion of profit, if you don't have a cushion of profit, you don't want to be trading at the open. This is too risky. Just let the dust settle. It's only if you've got a decent cushion that you should even be thinking about taking a trade here. So 75 on the bid. Okay, so high of this candle here, 1014. So I'm going to put my order up at 1050 here. Got a starter in the small account. I'm going to let it dip down though. But I'm looking for a possible halt up. So watching here, halt is over 11. So watching to add over 1075. Add a 1075 there. Now looking for the breakthrough 11. So let's see if we can squeeze through 11. 1115, 1125, 1150. Nice. Do we halt up? Got a little profit off the table. We're now at 500%. So good job. Good job, right? Nice. That was a pretty...
Recording in progress.
Let's go, guys. Let's